There's a guy who makes $85,000 a year and has $300 in his checking account. There's another guy who makes $32,000 and has $4,000 saved. Same city, similar rent, both single. The difference is in income. There's a woman who got a $15,000 raise last year and somehow ended up more broke than before. There's a construction worker who cleared 6 figures last year between overtime and side work, and he's currently deciding which bill to pay late. Here's the punchline question. If making more money doesn't fix being broke, what does? I'm going to explain why everything you think about saving money is backwards, and why the solution has nothing to do with budgets, cutting expenses, or financial discipline. Because here's what I learned. After 10 years running a business and watching hundreds of people try to fix their money problems, being broke isn't a math problem. It's a systems problem. And nobody's teaching you how to build the right system. By the way, I built a free early retirement calculator because most online ones are mathematically wrong. It uses BlackRock and Vanguard logic to expose the weak points in your plan, and I only ask for your email to send the report so I don't store any of your financial data. Link in the description. Think of your finances like a bucket with holes in it. Most people are so focused on pouring more water in the top, they never look at the bottom. They're chasing raises, side hustles, better jobs, more income, more income, more income. Meanwhile, there are 12 holes draining everything out. The budget people, they'll tell you to measure the water, track every drop, know exactly where it's going. Great. You now have a detailed spreadsheet of how your bucket is empty. The disciplined people, they'll tell you to just want it more. Stop buying coffee. Stop going out. Sacrifice. They're asking you to ignore the holes through sheer force of willpower. And you know what happens? You hold your breath for 3 months, maybe 6 if you're really committed. Then you exhale. And all 12 holes are still there, waiting. The system I'm about to show you doesn't add more water. It doesn't require you to stare at the water level all day. It plugs the holes, one at a time, permanently. And it works specifically because you're broke, not in spite of it. Let me tell you about a guy named Marcus. Not someone I know personally, but his situation got documented in a financial behavior study out of Duke University in 2023. Marcus made $47,000 a year as an HVAC technician. Every January, same thing. New Year's resolution. This is the year I save money. He'd set up automatic transfers. $200 per paycheck straight to savings. Felt great for about 11 days. Then his car needed a sensor. Then his phone bill hit. Then he forgot about that streaming service. By day 18, he's transferring money back. By February, he'd given up completely. Not because he was irresponsible, because the system was fighting him. His brain saw that savings account as available money. Just money that lived in a different folder. And here's what the researchers found that's wild. The act of moving money back from savings created a stronger negative association than if he'd never saved at all. Every transfer back was his brain saying, see, you can't do this. You're bad at money. That psychological damage compounded for 8 years. 8 years of trying and failing to save using the same broken system. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what's the alternative? I've got bills, I've got expenses, the money goes out as fast as it comes in, there's nothing left to save. I hear you. But let me ask you something. Do you know exactly how much you spent last Tuesday? Most people don't. They remember the big stuff. Rent, car payment, insurance. But there's this whole category of money that just evaporates. $20 here, $45 there, subscriptions they forgot about, convenience purchases. It's not irresponsible spending. It's invisible spending, the holes in the bucket. Here's the first escalation that changes how you think about this. A researcher at MIT, Drazen Prelec, ran studies on something called the pain of paying. When you hand someone physical cash, your brain lights up the same area that processes physical pain. Actual pain. Your insula activates. It hurts to let go of cash. But when you tap a card or click a button, that pain signal is dramatically reduced. It's abstract. It's painless. And your brain makes different decisions when there's no pain signal. They ran an experiment. 2 groups at a baseball game. One group could only buy concessions with cash. The other could only use cards. The card group spent 83% more. Same people, same prices, same food, just a different payment mechanism. This is why you can check your bank account on Sunday and think, where did $300 go? Your brain wasn't processing pain, so it wasn't tracking cost. The holes were invisible. This is where it gets really interesting. There's a concept in behavioral economics called mental accounting. Your brain doesn't see money as money. It sees money as belonging to different categories, and those categories have different psychological values. $100 you earn from overtime feels different than $100 you got as a tax refund, even though they're mathematically identical. The overtime money feels earned, worked for, valuable. The refund feels like free money, bonus money. And your brain is way more likely to spend the bonus money on something stupid because it was categorized differently. The researcher who documented this, Richard Thaler, won a Nobel Prize for it. Not because it's logical, because it's true. Your brain is running faulty accounting software, and you don't even know it. So here's what actually works. You don't fight your brain's faulty accounting. You exploit it. You create a category of money that your brain sees as completely untouchable. Not because you're disciplined, because you've architecturally removed it from the system. Let me show you how this works with real numbers, because this is where most financial advice falls apart. They talk in percentages and vague principles. I'm going to show you dollars. Let's say you make $3,000 a month after taxes. Rent is $1,200. Car payment and insurance, $450. Utilities and phone, $200. Groceries and basics, $400. That's $2,250 accounted for. You've got $750 left for everything else. Gas, clothes, occasional dinner out, anything unexpected. $750 sounds like breathing room until you realize you're living in a world of subscription creep. Netflix, Spotify, that gym membership you forgot about, Amazon Prime, the cloud storage you signed up for 2 years ago. That's another 80, maybe 100. Now you're at 650, still okay. But then there's the invisible stuff. You stop for gas station coffee twice a week. That's 30 a month. You order takeout once because you're tired, $40. Your buddy's birthday, 50 for drinks and an Uber. You're down to 480, and we're only halfway through the month. This is the trap. You're not being irresponsible. You're being human. Your brain doesn't process these small amounts as significant because individually they're not, but they compound. Death by 1,000 transactions. And the brutal part? You can't budget your way out of this because your brain will always find a justification for each individual purchase. You worked hard today. You deserve the coffee. It's your friend's birthday. You can't not go. The justification is always right there. So here's the second escalation. The real problem isn't what you're spending on. It's the decision fatigue. Researchers found that humans make about 35,000 decisions per day. Every single one depletes your willpower. It's why you can resist the donut at 10 a.m., but cave at 3 p.m. It's not that your discipline got weaker. It's that your brain ran out of decision juice. And every time money is available to spend, your brain has to make a decision. Should I buy this? Can I afford it? Is it worth it? Every available dollar creates a decision point. And by the end of the day, after you've made 300 decisions at work and 500 micro decisions about everything else, your brain is exhausted. So when you see something you want, you just buy it. Not because you're weak, because your prefrontal cortex is offline. The system that works removes the decision entirely. You make the decision once. Then you automate the architecture so your brain never has to fight itself again. Here's how. You don't save a percentage. You save a fixed amount before you see the money as available, not after you pay your bills, before. Here's the number that works for most people who are broke or close to it. $50 per paycheck. If you're paid twice a month, that's $100 a month. If you're paid weekly, that's $200. And I can already hear the objection. I don't have $50 to save. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Here's what you do. You find $50 of invisible spending and you redirect it. Not cut it, redirect it. Let me walk you through a real example. Guy named Trevor, works in logistics, makes $52,000 a year, paid every other week. Brought home about $1,500 per paycheck after taxes. And his 401k contribution, he swore he had nothing to save. I had him track his spending for 2 weeks. Not judge it, just track it. Here's what he found. He had 4 subscriptions he forgot about. Apple Storage, a meditation app he used twice, a meal kit service he kept meaning to cancel, and a premium music service he didn't remember signing up for. Total? $41 a month. He was stopping at a convenience store on his way to work 3 times a week. Coffee and a snack. $8 each time. That's $96 a month. He was ordering lunch at work twice a week instead of bringing leftovers. $15 each time. That's another $120 a month. I'm not saying these are bad purchases. I'm saying they were invisible. He wasn't choosing them. They were just happening. We cut the subscriptions, saved him 41. He brought coffee from home 3 days a week, saved him 72. He packed lunch 1 extra day per week, saved him 60. That's $173 a month in redirected spending. He didn't feel deprived because he wasn't cutting things he consciously valued. He was plugging holes he didn't know existed. Here's the third escalation, and this is the one that makes it permanent. He set up a separate savings account at a different bank. Not the same bank where his checking account lived. A different institution entirely. Why? Because his brain needed to see that money as gone. When it's at the same bank, it's right there, 1 transfer away, still available, still part of the system, but at a different bank, it requires effort to access. You have to log into a different app, link accounts, wait 2 business days for the transfer. That friction is psychological architecture. It makes the money feel categorized as not spendable. And here's the critical part. He set up the automatic transfer to happen the day after his paycheck hit. Not at the end of the month. Not when he saw what was left over. The day after payday. $50 disappeared before his brain categorized it as available spending money. This is mental accounting working for you instead of against you. Within 6 months, Trevor had $1,500 saved. Not life-changing money, but life-changing psychology, because he stopped seeing himself as someone who can't save. He became someone who has savings. That identity shift is everything. Once you believe you're the kind of person who saves, you start making other decisions that align with that identity. You look for an extra shift. You negotiate harder on a freelance rate. You skip a purchase not because you're depriving yourself, but because it conflicts with who you now are. Now, you might be thinking, what about emergencies? What if I need that money? Fair question. Here's the structure. You build to 3 levels. Level 1 is $1,000. That covers most small emergencies. Tire blowout, phone screen cracks, unexpected vet bill. Get to 1,000 and you've eliminated 90% of the financial panic moments. Level 2 is 3,000. That covers major emergencies, car transmission, emergency flight, broken HVAC in summer. Level 3 is 3 months of expenses. That's traditional emergency fund territory. That's the amount where you can lose your job and not panic. But here's the key. You don't build all 3 at once. You stack them. $50 per paycheck. That's $100 a month if you're paid twice monthly. It takes 10 months to hit 1,000. Feels slow. But you know what's slower? Spending 30 years never having $1,000 saved. Once you hit 1,000, you increase the amount. Maybe it goes to 75 per paycheck, then 100. The habit is formed. The identity is established. Now you're just scaling. Let me give you a mini case study with real numbers so you can see how this plays out. Woman named Angela, single mom, works as a dental hygienist, makes $63,000 a year, brings home about $3,800 a month after taxes, health insurance, and her 401k. Her fixed expenses were rough. Rent, $1,400, car payment, $380, insurance, $140, utilities, $150, phone, $80, daycare, $600. That's $2,750 in fixed costs. She had $1,050 left for groceries, gas, clothes for her kid, and everything else. She was living on the edge. One unexpected expense, and she was on a credit card. We found her invisible spending. Subscriptions, $53. Convenience store stops, $80. Ordering delivery when she was exhausted from work, $160. Impulse purchases at Target because her kid wanted something, $90. That's $383 a month evaporating. We didn't cut it all, we cut half. Canceled subscriptions she didn't use, saved $53. Cut convenience stops by half, saved $40. Limited delivery to once a week instead of twice, saved $80. Set a monthly budget for Target of $50 instead of $90, saved $40. That's $213 a month redirected. She set up a $75 per paycheck transfer to a separate savings account. That's $150 a month. Took her 7 months to hit $1,000 saved. Then her car needed new brakes. $700. She pulled it from savings. Didn't panic, didn't use a credit card, just paid cash and started rebuilding. 4 months later, she was back to $1,000. Then her kid needed glasses. $350. She pulled it out, rebuilt again. The third time she hit $1,000, nothing happened for 8 months. She kept saving, hit $2,000. Then 3. After 18 months, she had $3,400 saved. Her car broke down for real. Transmission, $2,200. She paid it. Still had $1,200 left. That's the system working. Here's the 4th escalation, and this is the part nobody talks about. Once you have savings, your brain makes different decisions about income. When you're broke, you're in survival mode. You take the shift that's available. You say yes to the client even if they're a pain. You don't negotiate because you can't afford to lose the opportunity. But when you have 3 months of expenses saved, you have leverage. You can say no to a bad client. You can negotiate harder because you're not desperate. You can take a calculated risk on a better opportunity because you have runway. Savings doesn't just protect you from emergencies, it creates offense. It turns you from a price taker to a price maker. There was a study done by JP Morgan Chase Research Institute tracking bank account data. They found that families with just $2,400 in liquid savings were 70% less likely to experience material hardship after a job loss compared to families with less than $500 saved. 70%. The difference between financial collapse and inconvenience was less than $2,000. That's not retirement money. That's not wealth. That's just not being broke. And the gap between broke and not broke is narrower than you think. Mock dialogue time. Imagine your brain arguing with itself. I should say $50 this paycheck, but what if you need it? For what? I don't know, something. Like what specifically? Just something could happen. And if something happens, I'll deal with it then. Right now, I'm saving $50. But that's not enough to matter. It's $50 more than I had before. Your brain will sabotage you with vague fears. The trick is demanding specifics. What exact emergency do you foresee? If you can name it, you can plan for it. If you can't name it, it's just anxiety. Don't let anxiety steal your future. Or here's another one. I really want to buy this thing. How much is it? $80. Do you need it? I mean, not need, but it'd be nice. Will you care about it in 3 weeks? Probably not. Then you don't want the thing. You want the feeling of buying something. Your brain craves novelty. Shopping provides a dopamine hit. But you can get the same hit by watching your savings number go up. Redirect the addiction. Here's the brutal truth. The financial industry doesn't want you to hear the system because it's too simple. They make money on complexity. They sell you budgeting apps with subscription fees. They sell you investment products you don't understand. They sell you the idea that you need an advisor to tell you what to do with money you don't have yet. It's insane. The advice you need when you're broke is free and boring. Spend less than you make. Save the difference. Put it somewhere you won't touch it. That's it. But there's no recurring revenue in just save $50. So they bury that advice under 12 layers of optimization and 4-quadrant matrices and risk tolerance questionnaires. It's gatekeeping, and it keeps people broke. I've spent 10 years around accountants and fiscal lawyers who manage real money for real businesses. You know what they do with their own money? The boring thing. They max out tax advantage accounts. They keep 6 months of expenses in high yield savings. They invest the rest in index funds and ignore it. No crypto, no options trading, no NFTs or alternative assets. Just a boring thing, repeated for decades. Lazy investing built more fortune than crypto memes. But boring doesn't sell courses. Boring doesn't go viral. So you get sold complexity instead. Let's get tactical. Here's exactly what you do today. 3 specific actions. First, open a high yield savings account at a different bank than your checking account. I don't care which one. Ally, Marcus, Discover, Capital One. Just pick one and open it. Takes 8 minutes. Do it now, not later, now. Second, calculate your per paycheck savings number. Look at your invisible spending. Find $100 to $200 per month you're spending on things you don't consciously value. Divide that by the number of times you get paid per month. That's your number. Set up an automatic transfer for the day after your paycheck hits, not the end of the month, the day after payday. Third, forget it exists. Don't check it constantly. Don't count it as available money. It's gone. It's in the vault. You check it once a quarter just to see the number go up and feel good about yourself. That's it. Here's what happens. In 6 months, you have 6 times your per paycheck amount saved, probably somewhere between $600 and $1,200. That changes your psychology. In a year, double that, maybe $1,500 to $2,500. That changes your options. In 2 years, you're looking at real emergency fund territory, $3,000 to $5,000. That changes your life. And here's the cynical kicker. The reason this works isn't because it's genius. It's because it acknowledges you're human. You're not going to become a different person. You're not going to suddenly have discipline you've never had. You're not going to track every dollar for the rest of your life. This system works with your broken brain, not against it. It automates the decision. It removes the friction. It makes saving the path of least resistance. And you know what? That's enough. Being broke isn't a moral failing. It's a systems failure. Fix the system.